that 8-year-old girl who's now a grown woman, it left her with a feeling that being Jewish was bad. Can you imagine you're Jewish and you being left with being Jewish is bad? I'm going to tell you about my first movie experience sometime later in this talk. But right now, I want you to know I came from a place just outside of Charleston, South Carolina. I grew up in what's called Adams Run. It was called Adams Run. And in Adams Run, where I lived, it was probably 200 people or less in the community. And the 200 people in the community, they were all black. All black people, just like me. And being all black people, they were just as close as any other community was. Now, Adams Run was just down the road from a place called Charleston, South Carolina, which we all thought was the big city. And shortly after the experience, shortly after when I was 6 years old, we moved to Charleston. Being in the rural area of Adams Run, although we didn't see any white people, I often heard my parents and grandparents talking about this group of people they call the Buckra. The Buckra. I was close to 6 years old before I realized that the Buckra was white people. So here we are now, I'm 8, 9 years old, and we're in Charleston, South Carolina. One day, we decided to go, the whole family, to watch a movie called Babes in Toyland. It was our first experience with a movie. My mother lined the four of us up by height, and we're marching down this street called King Street, going down to the Rivers Theater, and we're all well-behaved children because that's how it was back then. If you didn't behave, you'd get a stern talking to, and that's putting it mildly. So we get to the movie theater, and my mother lines us up, and really having my mother there was a big bonus for me because she wasn't around very much in my childhood for all sorts of reasons. But suffice it to say, so far, so good. So she had us lined up along the front of the theater. She goes to the kiosk and she purchases the tickets. Then we take the tickets. Then she lines us up and we almost march around the corner to the different entry point for the theater. We went through the side door, which led up to the balcony, where all the colored folks sat. Colored folks are people that they have a different name for now, but suffice it to say, in 1961, we were Negroes. So in 1961, when my mother took us to see Babes in Toyland, and we went up the stairs to sit in the colored section of the movie, believe it or not, that was one of the grandest days of my life. That was one of the most fantastic moments that I experienced. Not just because of going to the movie, but because my mother was with us. My mother, who I've already said, didn't see much of her. Going to see Babes in Toyland in 1961 was a great experience for me as a 9-year-old boy. Now, I say that was one of the greatest experiences in my life because there wasn't a whole lot of great experiences in my childhood. In 1961, child abuse hadn't become popular yet. Child abuse had become something that people thought about, and children at the time were to be seen and not heard. And it was a little struggle for a cat like me to be seen and not heard. So you can imagine the straps and the shoes and the belt and the switches and anything nearby I'd get hit with. It was a long time before children became a group of people that needed nurturing, that needed caring, that needed to be taken care of. That trip to the movie in Charleston was a phenomenal thing. Those experiences with the strap and the shoe and the broom or what have you, they were what they used to build character in children because children didn't really have any character as far as you know when you're growing up. Now let's take a look at what I was thinking during that time, the last thing I thought of was what was making me feel like I was feeling. I was feeling, I was fighting against authority. I didn't like being controlled. I just felt uncomfortable all the time. But the one thing that was true is that I never thought that it was because of white people. Because everybody I knew was black. The place that we moved in when we came to the city, there was a white guy that owned the place, but I didn't think that it was white people that was making me feel rebellious. I didn't think it was white people that was hurting my feelings all the time. I didn't think it was them that was making me go outside and get a switch. What I did think, though, is that I was too busy trying to make my life work to worry about anything outside of there. Now, I heard about Jim Crow. I heard about the bigotry. I heard about the discrimination. I knew all that stuff went down, but it didn't have that much to do with me because I was concerned with not getting another whipping. I was concerned with holding Francesca's little hand. And as a result, I found other reasons why things weren't going my way. But take it from me, being black was not a problem until much later on in life. Now, consider the young lady earlier I was talking about, the Jewish lady. Now, the Jews had a lot of misfortune. They had a lot of things happen to them. I mean, they were put in restricted locations. They were killed. I mean, they were treated very horribly. But you know what they did? They came back from that. They came back from that treatment and they began to fit in where they could. They began to make strides in American culture and do the things that they could to make a contribution. Now, say what you like about all the discrimination that we as black folks suffered, about all slavery and all that. I'm just not sure that we experienced anything as horrible as what the Jews did. Now, I can think about the immorality of slavery and the effects of racism, and I can be pretty angry about that. I also can take the country apart and find all the things that's wrong with the country and conclude that it's a bad country. I could do that too, but what would that get me? Or what I can do is I can honor the sacrifices and the struggles of my ancestors in creating a dream that I am now part of. Because the truth is, no white person ever stopped me from going to college. They didn't stop me from joining the Air Force. They didn't stop me from coming to Sacramento, California. They didn't stop me from being a Toastmaster. So as far as I'm concerned, that really wasn't my problem. Now, what I have done, though, is I have made a commitment to help future Americans, experience all the benefits that my ancestors experienced, that my age group, the people in my generation, we experienced a lot of strides, because as you know, we also had a black president at one time. So if I commit to making sure that everyone, no matter what color they are, were to have a similar experience, then I would have done my job. I want you to know that what I've shared with you is, stuff I believe in is pretty close to my heart. And it governs a lot of my behavior. It governs a lot of the things I live by. So as a result, in order to move forward and help achieve my goal, I've decided that I'm going to be a black conservative Republican. Because as a black conservative Republican, I can help eliminate some of the pains of the past. Now, being a black conservative Republican, though, you might not hear me say, let's make America great again. Because, despite the Jewish girl's experience, despite the 9-year-old black kid's experience, as far as I'm concerned, America has never not been great. And it's great now. But through me, and eliminating the playing small attitude, because I've given up playing small. It's time to play big and do the great thing that I was born to do. And that great thing that I was born to do is going to begin today. Because if I were to do that great thing that I was born to do, America would be even greater than what it is now. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Victor. Madam Timer, could we get a minute on